Hello friends, welcome to my channel The Spice Route. Today we are going to make a subscriber requested recipe. This is for what is known as the Milagu Kozhambu or the black pepper Kozhambu, right? This is a gravy that is made particularly with black peppers and the taste of black peppers, and we have tamarind in it. I'm going to talk to you about the ingredients. The base ingredient for this is tamarind. I've taken about a lemon-sized ball of tamarind, put it in water and let it soak the water. I have tried to mix it up with the water and I'm going to use that. And then we have the spices that are needed for this. It is black pepper, about 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of jeera or cumin seeds. We have about 2 or 3 arcs of curry leaves. We have 2 teaspoons of tur dal. We have about 3 or 4 dried red chilies. We have hing. For tempering, we need mustard seeds, jeera, and a special ingredient here. This is garlic. So we're going to make this with garlic. My mom doesn't eat garlic, but this is a recipe that I have had in the past, and this is a combination of my mom's recipe and actually my aunt's recipe, and then I'm adding garlic to it. It's a fantastic recipe to have. Typically, it's a spicy recipe, not what kids would enjoy, but for the adults at home, it's a fabulous recipe to have. So let's see how the process is. I have here a pan with about 1 tablespoon of gingerly oil. Please remember, you're supposed to use the gingerly oil for this. That's what adds a lot of taste to it. And what I'm going to do here is add the spices to it and roast it for a little while, including the curry leaves. So you'll see how that goes. We have our spices roasting here. And we're going to let the tur dal brown up a little bit in this oil. So it is fairly hot. What we're going to do right now at this point is add the curry leaves as well to it. And allow that to nicely fry. All of this process would take about 2-3 minutes. It's like tempering, but then we're going to grind this into a paste while we do the rest of the stuff. The dry spices have fried very well in the oil. At this point, I add about half a teaspoon of hing to it, and that is about half a teaspoon of hing. And I am just going to mix it up a little bit so that the hing also fries in the oil. And we switch off the flame. And we grind this into a very smooth paste. Add a little bit of water and grind it. Let this cool down and we'll grind it at that point. Friends, in the same pot, I have added about 3 tablespoons of gingerly oil. This recipe requires a lot of oil, so I'm adding 3 tablespoons of gingerly oil. This also requires a significant amount of mustard seeds, so I'm going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of mustard seeds into this. And we'll see that once the mustard seeds start spluttering, I'm going to add the jeera. You can see it's foaming right now, about to start spluttering. This is the point where I add the jeera, about half a teaspoon of jeera. And I also add some hing again. Hing adds a lot of flavor to this. That's about 1/4 teaspoon of hing. And I did save a few curry leaves that I'm going to add into it. You would notice that today I am the videographer for this recipe, and once this is done, I'm going to add all of the tamarind juice into this, and I will let it boil along with salt for about 10 minutes or so, and I will show you once I add I have now added the tamarind juice to it, and while I'm going to add the salt, I did forget something. Normally, after I add the mustard seeds, jeera and the hing, This, what you see right now, is how my mom makes it, but I was going to add garlic and I forgot about that. So what we're going to do is, I have another small tempering vessel here, and I added about a teaspoon of gingerly oil to it. As soon as the oil is hot, I'm going to reduce the flame a little bit, add all my garlic. This is about 12 or so garlic pods that have been just flattened out. I just took the knife and hit them hard so that it flattens out. Now I'm going to just add all of this garlic into this oil, and we're going to fry the garlic just about 2 minutes or so, and then I'm going to add that to the mixture. And while I do that, I am also going to add salt to taste into my tamarind juice, which is actually going around here. I'm going to add about 3 teaspoons of salt to this, actually 2.5 teaspoons of salt, so that this recipe, because it is a spicy hot recipe, needs a little extra salt, a little more oil. And this, by the way, stays very well for 10 to 15 days in your fridge. Just take it out, heat up a little bit, eat with your rice, eat with your curd rice. It is extremely tasty and healthy. Friends, I am going to add the salt to this mixture right now, about 2.5 teaspoons of salt. This is about 2.5 teaspoons of salt, and let this cook along with the tamarind juice for about 10 minutes or so. The flavor profile that you get out of this is just fabulous, just so you know. And then right on this side, you would notice that my garlic is continuing to cook. It's starting to get brown, and at this point I switch off the flame, and I am going to use that garlic into I'm going to put all of that garlic into my tamarind juice here. All right, and then let's see this after about 10 minutes or so of it boiling along with the garlic. We're going to add the ground paste that I'm going to make. This is cooling down right now. I'm going to add a little water and grind this to a very smooth paste, and then add it to this mixture and let it boil down for another 15 minutes or so. All right, friends, so you see this is how the paste is, dark brown. I've ground it really fine. We're going to add all of this paste into the already cooking tamarind juice and all of the other spices in here, and then we again let it cook for almost about 15-20 minutes, and then this dish will be ready. So I'll just show you how we add this paste to our I did add a little bit of water to kind of make it a little watery, cleaned out the mixie jar, and I'm going to add all of that into our tamarind juice right there. By the way, there's still some goodness there, so I'm going to just clean that out and add that as well. Maybe a couple of spoons of water, and just so I added the paste into the mix, and I'm going to let this boil for about 15 minutes, because there are going to be two things. One, the raw smell of the tamarind has to go, and it has to cook really well, and two, there is all the paste that we made, even though it was fried, we need that to incorporate very well with the gravy that we're making here, and that'll take about 10 or so minutes. And what I'm going to do, I did forget to mention one key ingredient that goes into it. It is jaggery, and we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of jaggery into this, so that I think I mentioned in one of my earlier recipes that if you're making anything with tamarind, jaggery enhances the flavor of tamarind, enhances the flavor of the pepper, and that's what makes this dish very, very special. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes when I add the jaggery. It's been about 10 minutes. This has been boiling. You notice that the quantity will start reducing as the water evaporates from this, and I'm going to at this point add about 1.5 tablespoons of jaggery to it. This needs to have that subtle sweetness, so a little bit of extra jaggery please adjust that to your taste. At least a teaspoon will always help. So I'm just going to add that in there. And what I'm going to do is let that boil down for another 10 minutes or so until the jaggery melts in the liquid and the water evaporates a little bit more. You will notice that the kozhambu is starting to get thicker as well, and that's what we need. So let this cook down a little bit more. Let this start getting thicker as well, and then we will see how this is turned. It's been about 10 minutes and I have basically cooked it down by about 1/4. So when we started, whatever quantity of liquid we had, that has now gone down to about 3/4 of it. And you would notice that the kozhambu is also thickened out quite a bit because of the tur dal in it. And this is exactly the consistency that we want. All of the jaggery would have also melted. It is mixed out very well into the kozhambu. So this is something that you should definitely make at home. Remember, this is a spicy recipe. Also, this is like pulikachal, right? For those of you that know what is pulikachal, this is exactly like that. You can use this for 10 or 15 days, keep it in the fridge. Nothing will happen to it. In fact, as the days progress, the taste gets enhanced because of the tamarind in it. So enjoy, and do not add any dhania or coriander leaves in the end, because again, if it is not well boiled and or has not been boiled for the half an hour that we have, there's a tendency for it to get spoiled if you add anything fresh into it. So I'm not going to add anything there. This is pretty much it. And at this point, please switch off the flame and try to make this at home. Enjoy. If you do like the video, please do subscribe, like, and click the bell icon on YouTube. Thank you.